All right, I'm dumping the fuel out of it. It is beautiful, clean fuel. I'm probably going to spray some fogging oil inside this thing and let it sit in there so it doesn't get all moisture damaged, because as you know, the ethanol in the fuel. So I'm just going to drain all of this fuel out of here, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray and fill this up with some fogging oil. This way it'll last. And I think I'm going to call my buddy Brad. I'll shoot him a text and say, hey, you want any parts? Because he bought a 250 this year off of me. Well, it was really, get away, bugs. It was really off of, I had rebuilt the motor, wow, 10, 12 years ago for someone, and they decided to go 4-stroke. So he had the motor for sale, asked me to sell it for him. And Brad bought it down in Virginia. You're going to be seeing a few videos of him because he is working on his Grady White. A lot of fuel in this thing. All right, so we're going to get this oil tank off. And now that we have drained the fuel, the VST, as I said, I'm going to fill it up with some fogging oil. This way it'll preserve it, and put the stuff up for sale. So really all we have left is our intake manifold with our injectors. We're going to pull that off. I'll probably run some fogging oil through that. I might even take a little 12 volts at each injector and just to make sure I get fogging oil through it to preserve them. And then we'll take our reed plate off, split this case, get the crank and the pistons out of this because the buyer doesn't want them, and then we'll continue on in the next episode. Look at this nice clean fuel that came out of here. It's beautiful. I'm going to dump this in my tank and run it on another motor. So please like, subscribe, send any comments that you have, and stay tuned. Don't forget my used outboard motor buying guide. I don't have one with me. I gave it to Orlando, and I didn't put a new one in my shop to advertise. But my used outboard motor buying guide's for sale on Amazon. It is a used outboard motor buying guide, is the title of it, by David Keith McGowan. Just so you guys don't know, my first name is David, so officially it's David Keith McGowan. Gives you a little history of how I got started, and very, very brief, just an overview of things you need to check when you're going out to buy a motor. Compression, power tilt and trim, lower unit oil, all those basics of what you need to check to make sure you don't have some major expense after you buy it. So if you purchase it and you send me proof of purchase at keith@outboarddad.com, I'm still offering for a limited time. I've been saying that now for some time and getting busier and busier, but I just love helping you guys. I don't have all the answers. Hey, there's times I go, you know what, let me ask somebody else. I'm not too familiar with that particular issue. And we'll definitely help you get what you need, though, to the best of my ability. It's a $250 value, half an hour session over the phone if you send me proof of purchase and you leave me positive feedback on the book. Keep in mind, it's not in depth. It is just a basic guide to grab and go when you're going to look at a motor. Something I developed from over the years of looking at motors and missing things, and it costed me a lot of money. So today we're continuing on with our Yamaha 250 teardown as opposed to rebuild, which you usually see my videos I'm doing teardowns to rebuild. This one I'm doing teardown for parts because people need to get out on the water. So today we're going to continue. We're going to remove our throttle body here with all of our injectors on it. If you remember, we took out our fuel pump. I did spray all kinds of fogging oil in there to preserve it. We're going to reach out to our buddy Brad to see if he wants any of these parts. Took all the bolts out of this now. There is an arm here which goes to our oil pump. So this is kind of giving you the percentage, right? It goes, when the throttle goes full open, right? When I go full open on my throttle here, it pushes on my oil pump. Is this stuck? No, it's just binding up over here. So it's going to push on my oil pump, see? So we're going to disconnect that. We have our fuel line here, all of our injectors here. So I'm hoping to remove this all in one shot. Of course, we got a piece of linkage over here I have to take off. Let's see what this looks like. I'm not going to reuse any gaskets or anything, but I do want to save all these bolts, put them in our baggie so they don't get lost. So whoever purchased it, maybe they lost a bolt, or maybe they put a project aside for a time and maybe they're missing a couple. Okay, one more. All right, so now we can see all of our injectors in here. Very clean. This is in great condition. We're going to spray a little lube down this fuel rail. Some of that fogging oil we'll definitely spray in here, and we'll fill it up just to make sure anything that sits in there is going to be preserved, right? And we'll let that sit in there. And if someone needs this, let me know. So now we can look straight in at our reeds, which is pretty cool. But rather than showing you all that, I'm just going to go ahead and just take it off. This way you can take a look at it. Now there are bleed tubes on this that go back to our block, so we have to remove those. Where's my needle nose? Here's the large one. So we want to disconnect all of our bleed lines. And I don't think this is removed because the paint is still on the rubber hosers. But it's not corroded. Sometimes these get corroded and break right off. But these are all coming off nicely. Okay. Unless I missed a bolt, it should come off. Unless I missed a hose. There's all of our reeds. I don't see anything broken. Again, very clean. That's what we like to see. So now we can look down inside the motor. All right, so let's take a look here. And not seeing anything broken, which is good. I mean, everything rotated nicely. It looks very clean. This is the lower cylinder that we had low compression on. So now we'll get this oil tank and fuel pumps off, and we'll get this stripped down the rest of the way.